Now, Scott, you made reference to, and people watching online have seen the post annual election period beard that you kind of grew out in the holidays, Santa-esque a bit. It's true. The Medicare annual enrollment period did end in December, and people here in 2023 might be wondering if the change they made in their plan was the best choice, might be having second thoughts about that. So, is it too late since we're already past the annual enrollment period?
No, actually, it's not too late. If you made a change to your plan, your Advantage plan, during the annual enrollment period, obviously, that runs from October 15th to December 7th, and that ended. 12:01 midnight is when it actually ended on the 7th. And believe it or not, you'd be surprised at the number of people that I actually talked to on the 6th saying, is it too late? I had people calling up and saying, is it too late? I want to make a change. I want to get into this plan. I haven't really decided. But that ended, and, I think the reason why they ended then, no one can really answer this question. I was on the phone earlier this week with a couple of company reps saying, why don't they change this? Because they kind of cram everything in that 2.5 month window. And I think the reason why they ended is so they can get the new ID cards out, they can get everything put in place, so everybody's got their information in hand by January 1st for the new plan. But that brings us to the open enrollment period. So the open enrollment period is actually started January 1st. It runs until March 31st. So this is the time where you can actually get that do-over, so to speak. If you made a plan change during the AEP and you feel that plan might not be the best plan for you, you may have discovered that a doctor retired and that you want to pick a new doctor, but you can't find a doctor that's in your plan. This would be a way to change your plan to get that doctor in network. Maybe you found some prescriptions that maybe are not covered the way you thought they were going to be covered when you made your plan choice. So during the open enrollment period, you can make a one-time change. You can actually change and go back to the plan you had originally before you changed during the annual enrollment period. And then, you get to take advantage of all of the new products and coverages that are available moving into 2023 there. So if you make a change, let's say you decide to change here where, the second week in January, and you decide to make a change here in January, that change actually takes effect and starts February 1st. If you wait until February, it starts March 1st. And obviously, if you wait until March, that change would actually start. The new coverage would start April 1st. So there are some available changes to be made. Now, one thing that I do want to caution you on, if you have a Medicare supplemental plan, okay, so we're not talking Advantage, we're talking a Medicare supplemental plan, you can make a change to your supplemental plan any time throughout the year. Okay, you don't have the annual, the open, or the special enrollment periods do not apply to you. The only thing that I would caution you on there is you would be medically underwritten. And very simply, what that means is when you fill out an application to go through and change to a new Medicare supplement plan, you have all of the health questions to answer. If for some reason you have a health condition, you could be denied coverage to switch from one supplement to another supplemental plan. But the open enrollment period really doesn't pertain to that. So if you do have a supplement, then more than likely you're going to have what's called a standalone prescription drug plan. The prescription drug plans are only convertible during the AEP. So you want to make sure that you pick the plan that you're comfortable with moving forward. I did have a client that this past week she called me up and unfortunately she had a stroke. We did not make a change to her plan. We reviewed it, but we didn't make a change to her plan. So her plan was a supplement with a prescription drug plan. And she is now on a new drug to her, which is called Eliquis. So any of you out there that know anything about Eliquis, it's a very expensive drug. She calls me up and says, I'd like to change my prescription plan. I know it's past December 7th, but I would still like to change my drug plan. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. The first time she filled that prescription, it was like $650. It's going to be roughly $300 a month for her to get her Eliquis. So, it's horribly unfortunate. There are some loopholes and ways to kind of navigate through that, but you got to really be cautious with that, and make sure that it makes sense. So, yes, you can make that one-time change during the open enrollment period, and then you'll be locked into that plan and still until the following year.
So, Scott, going back towards the end of last year, for the last couple of months, it seems like I've seen countless commercials on TV talking about, these new plans and offering different benefits. And, maybe you call up the 800 number and you switch from the plan that you're in. Getting the packet of information, somebody finally goes through that, and then, the plan isn't exactly what maybe they thought they saw in the 60-second commercial. Would that be an example of then where people are making changes?
Absolutely. One thing that, and that's a great question, Nolan. Thanks for bringing that up. One thing, if you look online, you shop online, these companies, they put these commercials out there for you to call. They do, to be blunt about it, it's basically scare tactics. You may you see a commercial, you pick up the phone and call that 800 number, and they tell you, well, if you haven't made this change, you could be jeopardizing losing some coverages, so we could go ahead and get you signed up right now. You make that change. During this open enrollment period, you can change back and get an advisor like myself instead of using an 800 number to contact them. So, Nolan, that's a great point. This is a perfect opportunity for someone to change either to a new agent or go back to the plan that they were on prior.
Yeah, so I guess the way that I would summarize it is it's kind of like last call, right?
It's last call.
Last call. So if you got your coverage on the internet by shopping around or called an 800 number, and if you're just still not sure, maybe you didn't read that 50-page policy, and maybe you're confused on some of the terminology, and this is all a new area for you. I do believe that's one of the unique advantages that America's Medicare Associates and Scott offers is come right into our office. We're here local in Maumee. Independent can sit down and look at what you have, making sure that as you move forward, you have a good understanding of the policy benefits that you have, and you've made that right choice. And if you've got a question in the back of your mind, it's as easy as picking up the phone and giving us a call.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing I would add, too, what I love about working with you, Scott, is that I don't have to worry about that stuff.
Right.
It gives your financial advisor the opportunity to focus on what you want them to focus on and what they're best at. And so what I've noticed in previous lives and with other advisory firms that are one man, one woman shop that try to be all things to everybody. That's what you get here at America's Retirement Headquarters is you get that one-stop shop feel, but you have everybody working at their highest, best use in the field of practice, which they really specialize in, if I may, have a passion for, which that comes off.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you.
Definitely. It's not a Swiss Army knife approach where, you've got one person that does everything and Swiss Army knives, they do everything kind of okay. You want people that are actually more specialized in each department, having people who focus on, on growth, people who focus on Medicare, people who focus on any aspect you may need to take into consideration when it comes to your retirement. So pick up the phone and give a call, 419-794-3030. If you have maybe some second doubts about your what you elected to do as far as Medicare goes here in 2023, you want to take advantage of this open enrollment period. Scott K at the retirementhq.com is a way to reach out, or you can just go to the website as well, arhq.com.